Come on, stand up. Okay? If you don't know, Rachel Daniels here. Rachel has an incredible story to follow, but I'll leave that up to you to go find out. Okay? So, the quick, short story is she wins the Junior USA last year. We're doing the interview backstage for NPC News Online, and I said, when are you going to make your pro debut? And she's like, I'm not really sure. And I go, hard. You could be in that contest, and anything can happen. And she thought I was completely nuts, correct?
Extremely nuts.
And she goes, well, I need to talk to my trainer. I asked who her trainer was and who I knew, and I said, you tell him what I said. And what did he say?
He was like, I already sent you the flyer on Instagram. You're doing it.
So, in the space of 7 days, she went from being overall Junior USA champion to your women's physique New York Pro champion. So, are you defending the title this year?
Absolutely. I will be there. I didn't get to see Steve at the last one.
I was there in spirit.
You were there in spirit. I channeled you. I tried. Yeah, but I did get to get in front of him at the Olympia, and I'm gonna try to make that show worth watching and defend my title. You know, everyone's beatable, but you're gonna have to straitjacket me to rip that crown off my head.
Yeah. So basically, like everyone else here, you're just throwing the gauntlet down. That that's your show, right?
I mean, I'm realistic, but I'm also gonna be putting up a good fight and defending my title. Yes.
Sergio, you're gonna have to teach these people how to do a little fun trash talking here,
Yes.
right? I didn't say you did. You just know about it. No, I mean, in actuality, one of the things I actually said to her was, so you're gonna tell me you're gonna go to the New York Pro, you're gonna be sitting in the audience, you're gonna watch somebody else win, and you're gonna be kicking yourself in the ass saying, I could have been up there, right?
You did say that, you know, and I thought about it a lot, and I was like, what's the worst that could happen? The worst thing that could happen was regret of not giving something a shot. In worst case scenario, you fail and you lose your first pro show, and who cares? You know, you get back up and you keep going, like a lot of these other Olympians have shown that they did, and that's the reason that I think they're standing on the stage today, is because instead of focusing on the fear of failing, they realized that their biggest fear was, what if I succeed instead of fail? And I think once you realize that that's the master of fear, the fear of success itself, then you can start channeling that, and I think that's when you can find out who you really are and how far you'll really go to reach your full potential.
All right. Now, she has a very unique Instagram name, which I love, as being a comic book fan. So, your Instagram handle is?
The real Lois Lane.
And that is why?
I'm super warm. I don't know, is that why what? I don't know. You didn't give me a lead on for that, I don't know the answer.
Well, Lois Lane dated Superman.
Yeah, I mean, I'm single, but you're a Batman.
Okay? Still, yeah. I just, so it's an easy one to remember. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you want to follow her, and I would say, go look at her Instagram page, because there's an interesting story of her leading up to this and everything else. Once you see that, this will all come more into line. You'll understand what it took for her to get there and what it means, and she's standing here as your reigning New York Pro champion. So any last words?
No, can't think of Thank you for telling me to do New York Pro, even though I thought you were crazy, because that probably would have been one of the biggest mistakes of my bodybuilding career if I would have not taken a risk. So sometimes risks are stupid, but sometimes they can change your life. So I'm a fan of JM, and I'm a fan of risks.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and good luck at the New York Pro.
And I couldn't even answer because I didn't know how to speak English, and I was like, okay, everything I would say, okay. But he introduced me to the sport. He brought me to the Europa Games, and he's like, I'm gonna bring you to the show. You're gonna watch the show. I'm gonna bring you backstage. You're gonna see what an athlete is, because I see that on you. I can look in your eyes and see that you will have what it takes. And I thought he was crazy because I was like 14, 15 years old. And I'm like, okay, I'll go. So I went to the show, I watched the show, and I was so like excited about the whole thing, like the preparation and seeing the coaches like helping the athletes. And I'm like, it's amazing to see what the NPC is, because it's a family. It's not just about like going on stage and being like better, but backstage, you see what bodybuilding is. So I started like learning about the sport, like literally watching all the documentaries and videos, like the winners. I learned the history of the sport, because I knew the day that I step on stage, I want people to see my passion for what I was doing. I didn't want just to step in there, compete, to get a trophy or something. I want to represent this sport for a long time. So that's how I got into the sport. I learned about the history. I learned the importance of, you know, like what the leaders did for us, what the IFBB and the NPC league like represent to me. It's much more. It's like I cannot even put in words how I feel to step on stage and see all of you there cheering for me or for any athlete. It's like the meaning to see the support, the family that we are. Like we cannot compete without the love of all of you. And we can see, we can feel your guys' energy when we are on stage. So thank you all for that.
Thank you, thank you. So tell everybody why you made the switch from figure to women's physique.
Well, one of the main reasons is right here, Steve. But I talked to the judges after the show, and my first Olympian, I was 19 years old, and I placed 15th. And I swear, I was the happiest person on that stage. Even like the first place winner was not as happy as I was. Because as I said, I knew what the Olympic stage means for the athletes. It's not just stepping there and getting a trophy. So I remember walking out of the stage, and my mom was outside. She's like, it's okay, Natalia, you know, next time you get it. I was jumping. I was so happy. And I'm like, Mom, you don't understand what it means to be right here, right now, at 19 years old. And it was just amazing. But anyway, my second Olympian, I was still figure, and I placed 16th, that last. And I'm like, this is very weird, like something is wrong, because I was doing a lot of shows, pro shows, and winning. But when I got to the Olympia, I would be like in the last call out, last place. So I talked to the judges, and that's why it's very important for all of you athletes to understand, to get a critique, a feedback. But I talked to the judges, and they told me about my striations on my quads and my glutes, and it doesn't fit the criteria of figure. So they're like, you have two options. You can step up and try to go to women's physique, or you can step back, come a little bit softer, less striations, and see how it goes. But with the mindset that I have, I would never be able to step in the gym and say, I'm gonna give my 80% or something like that. I wanna step in the gym and give my all. So I'm like, I was a little afraid of trying to go to women's physique, but I gave it a try. 4 weeks after the Olympia, I competed, and I won my first women's physique show, and then I went to the Arnold Classic, I got second place, and from there on, I won pretty much all the women's physique shows that I did. So I think it was a smart move.
All right, so what's your prediction for you at the Olympia this year?
Well, of course, I'm training to get the first place. I hope I will do that. I will do my part, you know, I will come with my heart. I will do my very best every single day to get the first place that I've been battling for a little while.
All right, everybody, Natalia Coelho. And before he gets hangry, I'm gonna bring this guy, have him stand. Everybody, we know Sergio. Okay? And so Sergio, the last show was the Arnold, correct? So, where you also got the Best Poser Award, right?
Correct.
What are your plans for this year?
I mean, bodybuilders have the same plans every year. It's the same thing. You take time off, you put weight on, you get on show and see where you stand. There's not really any kind of like, oh, this year I'm going to do this instead of last year. It's really the same thing every single year. And the people that can do the same stuff every day, every month, every year are the ones who progress. So that's really all the plan we have.
Steve, do you think he should come back and try to win the New York Pro again?
so. Or wait, are you just gonna be there like Janet?
Yeah, me and Janet are gonna both be there in the same spot.
That'll work too.
All right, so I have to ask you how cool it was to get that Best Poser award at the Arnold.
Yeah, so I'll take this. Yeah, just the sport in general. I say it all the time. People are probably sick and tired of hearing me say it, but it's different for me. I'm such a fan of the sport, and being able to actually be a part of it with my name, it's kind of like me being two different people. So there's the fan that since I was growing up, I've watched Darren Charles win the Best Poser and a lot of others, and I've watched it. I'm like, man, one day I want to win that. And I know a lot of people have a lot of expectations for me with certain titles, but I have my own expectations for myself. And some of them are just things that people really don't care about anymore. Unfortunately, with social media today in the fitness industry, bodybuilding is getting mixed up with what's fitness and what's bodybuilding. I think now a lot of people eat whatever they want, go to the gym, and then whenever they feel like they look good, they take a selfie and hit a front double, and then compare that to someone who's told by a judge, you gotta look good now, right now, get on stage. And I just want to educate people and explain to people what bodybuilding is. It's not a competition that we get to get up on stage whenever we want. It's not, you get to just choose when you look good. You have to do it on key, and that's what being a pro is. And that's what separates the good pros. So I just kind of want to just be the one who's reminding people who maybe didn't follow the sport before there was a Jay Cutler and Ronnie Coleman. There was bodybuilding before then. But this is a big deal for me to be here. I started my bodybuilding career in Florida. I actually was judged by Tim Gardner my first show. I was 176 pounds, and then I was judged by him again a few years later at 280, 100 pounds later. So it's really cool for me to see the people that have seen me doing this from the beginning. Rich was my first sponsor I ever had, and then he dropped me, but Mel's had my back in Chicago growing up before I even lifted a weight. He's always been there for me. And Shannon Day was actually the first guest poser of my first show I ever did. She was my first crush I ever had too. She did this routine with a chair. It was amazing. And Dan, I used to listen to Pro Bodybuilding Weekly when I would do cardio on a mini disc player. And then we ended up doing a movie together, which was really cool. I got to play my dad. So there's just so much history and so much going on in the sport. It's just a big deal for me to now be a part of it. I know there's titles that people want me to win, and I just don't. Of course I want to win them one day, but that's just not what I'm thinking about right now. I just want to be the guy who, when I'm going up on stage, people aren't going to the bathroom. They're not going to get drinks. I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, you can go run to the bathroom and get drinks right now. No, I want them to be like, oh, shit, Sergio's on stage. So those are the things that are important to me, and those are the things I care about. But my favorite bodybuilders used to omit silence in the show. Nobody would talk because they're so in awe of the routine, and that's who I want to be. So just for people that don't really know much about me, I did nationals in Atlanta, back when it used to be in Atlanta. I know it's a long time ago, and I got dead last, literally last place. And I think that's what really helped me. I think my losses have really shaped me. I took it really hard. I took a year off and came back in Miami, and then took the overall. And in the sport, I don't really, like I said, I don't really care about winning titles. I really want to find out where I'm at, where I stand. So the New York Pro is my first pro show I ever did, which is like the third hardest show for the Open in the world. It was a big deal, and I won it. I beat some guy over there, and another guy, Justin, over there. But, you know, no one's talking about that. That's too soon? Too soon? Next time. That's why I'm never doing it again. But anyway, so I would love to win every show. That's kind of something I want to have. I want to have like a shrine of myself with all the titles and things that I've done. I won just random things that people would never even know about. And those are the things that are really important to me. Getting the respect from people that were around before me, like Top, that's what matters to me. Unfortunately, now with social media, most people don't even know what bodybuilding is, so followers don't mean nothing to me. It really isn't important. And I really want to get people to understand that just because there's a classic division now, it's really confusing a lot of people. That you can be in the open and still be classic. You can be 290 pounds and still look classic. You don't have to lose muscle to drop down to a class. You either need to be in the class that you're supposed to be in or compete. So having someone that people can look up to and be like, hey, you know, maybe if I put a little bit more muscle on and filled out my body, because when I was 6 foot tall, 176, nobody thought I was going to do anything. And sometimes it takes a while to fill out your physique. You can actually one day look the way you're supposed to. But that takes time. You have to literally put a tenure into this. People don't want to do that. People want to win now. They want to get titles now, and they want their followers to go up now. So that's kind of instant pace, right? So that's really all I want to be in the sport. I want to be someone that people can look up to and say, man, you know what? He either changed what I was thinking about, or he actually made me look back and study the old grades before me. The routines are a good way, Terrence will tell you too, the routines are a good way to tell when someone really cares about the sport and the history of it. I want people to go to a show and see a routine that I've done and be like, man, you know what, I want to look like that. Rather than just somebody in a stringer who took a selfie and looked good for that second. So that's kind of my goal.
So listen, while you're talking, I had this thought. Now, Sergio can do a split, okay? He brought up Shannon, did the routine with the chair. I'm thinking, and we've got Terrence over here, who's a great, you know, Shannon, if you could bust out that move on the chair, he does a split in front of you, and Terrence is behind. This could be the photo op of the entire day. What does everybody think? Encourage them, encourage them. We're gonna have to encourage Shannon more than anybody. What do you think, Sergio? I know you could stretch for a couple minutes, be ready to go.
I don't know. I weigh a lot more than I did at the Arnold, though. It's hard to get down at 300 plus.
All right, so give you a half hour? Okay. Terrence, you up for that? Hey, Terrence, you up for that? Just say yes. Just say yes. I'm coming over to you anyways. Just say yes. He didn't say no. Listen, I'm just going to go over here right now. Thank you, Sergio. All right, Terrence Ruffin, come on, everybody.
What up and do my thing.
Yeah, everybody was talking about Chris and Breon. Chris and Breon, that's basically what everybody was saying, right? So this just goes to prove that it doesn't mean jack what's on social media, okay? Because if you do the work and you bring it, you get this, right?
You took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah, people can talk all day. They can say, they can believe whatever they want to believe. But you know, I'm a fan of history too. I know Sergio talked a lot about history. You know, there was Olympia. You know, when Dorian retired, everyone thought Flex was gonna go up there, you know, be the champ, and then you know you had Ronnie showing up. You know, previously 9th place. All he did, it didn't matter. He didn't think he was gonna play first. He didn't know what was gonna happen. But every single day he put in the work. And that's all I do. I do my best every single day. And at the Olympia, you know, that paid off.
Yeah. Steve, that top 3 at the Classic Physique was tough, right?
He came out of nowhere. I wasn't even looking for him. And quarter turn after quarter turn, he kept moving up and up and up. And I don't know, a couple of more quarter turns and it could have been even a little different of a champion.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't mean to say that. I just realized he was sitting behind me.
No, but it is true. I mean, you could get on that stage, and even the Olympia stage, and like you said, no one's really thinking that you're going to be the one. Well, you know, by the time the finals hit,
Honestly, it doesn't matter what anybody says. If you show up on that day in shape, you will win. Look at Janet. Janet's been in this show for years. Never won. I mean, it's just, you show up in shape, and we're going to judge you. You show up out of shape, and guess what? We're going to judge you.
so what do you think of that?
I love it. That's the way it should be. There's a lot of I hear a lot of negative things, but you know, I'm proof that it's not politics, it's not anything. You know, like I said before, I didn't compete pretty much in 2019. I took the year off because I had like my worst showing the year previous, you know, and I made the improvements I need to make, you know, and the judges they took notice, and I really appreciate it. Like, that's all it is.
So Dan, is the Olympia, is it still online where they could go to watch it somewhere?
Yeah, you can go to olympiaproductions.com and you can watch the replay of the event. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm saying that because you need to watch this guy's routine. It was one of the best routines in the entire Olympia across every division.
They cut it a little bit short, but it, the part that you guys will see, it look really, really good too.
Well, talk to Dan that.
I want to expound on something Steve just said. Steve doesn't give himself very much credit, but I'm going to for a second, because if you attended this year's Olympia, the theatrics that came along with the call-outs in those critical moments at the end of the night in all the divisions were some of the most well-crafted call-outs, some of the most intensely dramatic comparisons we've ever had. And when the night was over, we were at the banquet after the event, and I said that I thought the star of the night wasn't Big Ramy, it wasn't even Janet, it wasn't our Miss Olympia champion, it was the work of the judging panel, and what Steve put them through. It was a lot of work, and it was a lot of fun to watch. And the most important thing about all of that, I'll give you the mic back, I'm sorry, but the most important thing of all that is it just shows that when you show up, I don't care if you were 18th last year or first last year, you're going to get a chance to be seen, and you're going to get a chance to compete. And since I have the microphone in my hand, I'm so sorry, Mel, but just hang with me, man. I want to do something. I can't help it. Last year was the hardest year in the history of this world and the NPC and everything that we went through. And I just have to say this because I don't want to ask for the mic back again, but I have to say this. Tim, come on up front. Tim, come up front. Come up front now. So what I want to do real quick, since I have the mic, I just want to do something, because last year, Jim Manion and Tyler Manion and Debbie Manion and J.M. Manion and the entire Manion crew were working around the clock to try to find ways to move shows from one place to the next, to give opportunities for athletes to qualify for the Olympia. It was really hard, guys. It was really hard to fit square pegs into round holes and to create opportunities for all of you guys to compete and to create opportunities for all of these folks to qualify for the Olympia. It was next to impossible. But the state of Florida stepped up in a very, very big way, and a person who deserves a lion's share of that respect and that gratitude is Tim right here, and I just want you guys to give it up for him for doing that. Tim, I cannot tell you, and I'm going to give the mic back to James now, but I cannot tell you how much you mean to not just the state of Florida, but to the entire country for what you did here in Florida to create those opportunities for all those events. So we appreciate it.
All right, so since we're calling people up on stage, we'll get to that in a minute. But Terrence, any last words? And what are you going to do this year to qualify for the Olympia? Are you going to the New York Pro?
I will be there in attendance as well. But no, I really do want to. I do want to do the New York Pro. I want to do the Pittsburgh Pro. I want to, like Sergio said, I want to win all the big titles out there. I'm a big.
So I'll see you in 5 weeks.
You'll see me there, man. But yeah, I got some improvements to make. To hold my position and maybe do a little bit better. So, that's kind of the focus right now. Yeah. But yeah, that's about it for me.
All right. Well, thank you, and good luck this year. And like I said, you got to go. Obviously, since they cut you short at the Olympia, you got to go to a show to see the full routine. Hey, you said it, not me.
Me and my man here, and during the sets, we filmed the full thing, so you guys can check it out on my YouTube too. But no, I really appreciate everyone that's here today. I'm a fan of bodybuilding. And I just want to see the sport grow more than anything, more than titles, more than anything in the world. That's what I do. I was in Houston last week. I was in Boca for the last one. I got events all over the world, I try to make myself available, and I'm glad that, everything you guys are here, and it's appreciated. So, thank you.
All right, everybody, it's Ruff Diesel it's RUFF Diesel on Instagram.
Yeah. They stole my real name. I feel like I'm getting a little too old for Ruff Diesel, but I couldn't get my real name off of Instagram. All right, thank you guys.
All right.